Meanwhile, among the stranger of the incidents overnight, an officer in Beitar Illit, just south of Jerusalem, seen throwing an empty bucket at a young boy before arresting him and another man. And this as Orthodox crowds clashed with authorities trying to clamp down on illegal prayer services. Israeli police spokesperson Superintendent Mickey Rosenfeld joins us with more. Mickey, thank you so much for being with us again.
Thank you very much.
All right, now I have to ask, what happened here? What justification is there for, arresting or conducting an arrest of this young man, or anyone really, in this chaotic fashion, throwing the bucket and chasing? It was real chaos.
In that specific incident, there's no justification whatsoever as to what happened and the way that that police officer behaved. What did happen at the scene is that there was disturbances and violence that took place where units were surrounded. An officer came in order to give out fines to people that were specifically not keeping the rules and regulations of the Ministry of Health. And in order to prevent the spread of COVID-19, our units were in the area. Things got out of hand, and as of now, that specific officer is not continuing to be active on duty. That incident is still being looked into. But on a wider scale and wider range, you have to understand at this moment in time, our police officers throughout the period of Sukkot are working both in Jerusalem, in the ultra-religious neighborhoods, both in Beitar Illit, as well as in the area of Bnei Brak, in order to deal with the situation and prevent dangerous gatherings of hundreds of people in the Sukkot and in different areas.
All right, well, in another video, we've seen in an arrest of a man apparently for just filming the clashes. The caption on the video says that he wasn't involved in the clashes. He wasn't, throwing anything or endangering police. He was simply filming the issue. And another man in Bnei Brak overnight was kneed in the face, according to another video during the arrest. I feel like there's a breakdown between the police and the Haredi public. How are we bridging that gap?
Our main efforts at the moment is, number one, to work both with the rabbis and get the message out to the rabbis who unfortunately have not taken control of the situation over the last week. What we've seen is hundreds of sukkahs that have been set up. We've seen thousands of people that have gathered inside synagogues against the rules and regulations. And unfortunately, this is causing tremendous difficulty and widespread of COVID-19 within inside the ultra-religious Haredi communities. Our aim is to get the message out to prevent gatherings from taking place on the ground. Otherwise, what will happen is that more than 40%, what we've seen until now, of the cases of COVID-19 have been within inside the Haredi community. We have asked the rabbis to work together with us. We are asking them and continuing to ask them to be active to prevent those gatherings from taking place inside synagogues, where unfortunately we've seen hundreds of people that have gathered. Unfortunately, there have been a number of issues, a number of cases, a number of disturbances that have also taken place where our units have had to respond to. Yesterday in Jerusalem, our officers were attacked. 2 officers were injured lightly, and more than 40 arrests were made just overnight yesterday in Bnei Brak, as well as in the area of Jerusalem, where there were wide-scale disturbances.
All right, well, in other news, Hasidic Rabbi Mordechai Leifer just passed away, unfortunately, overnight by coronavirus. And now thousands of ultra-Orthodox are actually attending his funeral in Ashdod as we speak. Police are reportedly allowing it to continue. Maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. What's the difference about this event as opposed to other massive crowds? Why is this being allowed to continue in spite of the lockdown and social distancing guidelines?
Number one, we made preparations for the funeral today. Number two, we asked people not to come, and unfortunately, hundreds of people have turned up in the area. We are walking through the crowds and asking them to disperse. We have, in fact, also turned to a new number of different rabbis in the area and asked people to disperse. We're working together, but we don't want to have a massive, major incident there at the scene. So at the moment, number one, certain areas of that funeral are cordoned off. And second of all, the police units are in the area asking the crowds to disperse in a respectable manner. We're doing as much work as possible in order to prevent people from being together and not keeping social distancing.
I see. All right. And my final question, what exactly is the method that's being taught or advocated amongst the police to break up some of these events?
Well, at the moment, our units are on foot patrol in and around the different neighborhoods, both of Jerusalem, as well as in Bnei Brak, and as well as in Beitar Illit, within the different communities. Our emphasis this week throughout Sukkot is keep social distancing, do not gather in synagogues. We've seen too many people that have gathered, too many people that are negligent of the situation and not implementing the rules and regulations. Those rules and regulations are not for the Israeli National Police. It's for the public and it's for people to keep in order to stay safe. and we're calling upon people to keep the rules and regulations at all times.
All right, Mickey Rosenfeld, thank you so much for being with us again.